Welcome to Here for the Gear. I'm Jeff. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the top 7 AV receivers of 2019 that I have selected, including one that will have the ability to support 8K video pass-through. Your receiver is a critical component for your home theater system and is almost as much of a centerpiece to your system as your TV or projector. When you make your selection, you want to factor in how much you want to be able to expand with future speakers, how much power you want to run to those speakers, as well as how many devices you're going to be wanting to have input from, and more. Be sure to check out my other video that explains home theater audio, which I've linked to below. It will give you lots of tips on how to connect your receiver or existing equipment. I also have links to this video, as well as links to the receivers I've reviewed in the description below for more information. Alright, let's get to the reviews. At number 7, we have the Denon AVR-S940. This receiver supports up to a 7.1 setup. This receiver has its 6th and 7th channels that can be assigned as wide or height channels, making it Atmos or DTS:X capable in a 5.1.2 configuration. The USB port on the front makes it handy for plugging in a flash drive with MP3s or other media. It is also compatible with the Denon Heos wireless music system, which is a huge bonus of not needing additional hardware for that. And it does support Alexa control as well. It has an output rating of 90 watts on 2 channels. With the input on the front included, it has a total of 8 HDMI inputs and 2 outputs, all of which are 4K and HDCP 2.2 compliant. Not bad at all, and we're just getting started. Number 6, we have the Yamaha RX-V685. This unit also supports up to a 7.1 setup, which can be assigned as wide channels or height channels. Like the Denon at the number 7 slot, it can also do a 5.1.2 Atmos or DTS:X configuration. The receiver is rated at 90 watts, driving 2 channels. This receiver also supports Alexa voice commands, as do most of the Yamaha receivers. One downfall is it only has 5 HDMI inputs and 2 outputs. However, they are all HDCP 2.2. It features 4K pass-through, so if you have a 4K Blu-ray player and TV, you're getting the full 4K signal all the way around. Number 5 is the Onkyo TX-RZ730. This receiver can be used several different ways. Out of the box, it has enough amplified channels to drive a 9.2 setup, which will give you a couple of different combinations of speaker layouts, all the way up to a 5.2.4 for Atmos and DTS:X formats. However, if you want to get the full effect of these codecs, you can attach an additional 2-channel amplifier and drive 2 more channels, giving you a full 7.2.4 system, which would look similar to this. The receiver also has Sonos built in if you already have the wireless music system, which you can incorporate the receiver as another zone and control it via the app. It has 8 HDMI inputs and 2 HDMI outputs, all of which are HDCP 2.2 compliant. The RZ730 is rated at slightly over 100 watts per channel at 2 channels driven, which really for the price range it's in is a pretty good deal and leaves a 2-channel amp within grasp if you wanted to go for the full 7.2.4 experience. At number 4 on the list is the Pioneer LX503. This is one of Pioneer's newest models, and although it isn't the most powerful in their line compared to some of the older elites, don't get me wrong, 120 watts on 2 channels isn't something to frown on. It does push some of the latest features. The 503 is a 9.2 channel receiver, so it could give you up to 2 overhead channels for an Atmos or DTS:X 7.2.2 setup, or you can use a separate amp to run 2 additional channels and have a full 7.2.4 setup. It also has 7 HDMI inputs and 2 HDMI outputs, all of which are HDCP 2.2 compliant. Another nice thing, it is capable of 4K upscaling. The 503 has the ability to be a Sonos zone player as well, similar to the slightly less powerful Onkyo at the number 5 position. Number 3 on the list is the Yamaha RX-A2080. This is a 9.2 channel receiver that is rated at 155 watts on 2 channels. It has 7 HDMI inputs and 3 HDMI outputs. This is actually the first one on the list with 3 outputs. With those 3 outputs in mind, 2 of those are for your main zone and 1 is for the second. So what it has the ability to do is your main zone can have a projector displaying your movie with a smaller TV displaying something else. Pretty cool idea, really. These HDMIs are all 4K, by the way. The receiver supports up to a 9.2 channel, so you can break that down to a 5.2.4 Atmos or DTS:X setup. If you want even more power, what the receiver has to offer, it supports 7.1 pre-out to run to auxiliary amplifiers. It has support for Alexa voice control as well. Number 2 on the list goes to the Marantz SR8012. This 38-pound beast can run up to 11.2 channels, and it has the ability to run up to a 7.1.4 channel Atmos system with no additional hardware required. It is claimed per specs to drive 140 watts per channel, and that is on all of the channels. However, per bench tests I've seen, once you start really pushing it above 9 channels, the wattage can go down some, but not enough really to write home about. It has 8 HDMI inputs that are all HDCP 2.2 compliant, as well as 3 HDMI outputs. All of those inputs and outputs are 4K capable as well. This receiver also supports eARC and is compatible with the Heos wireless music system. It has the ability to be controlled by Alexa, Google Assistant, or Apple AirPlay, so incorporating this receiver into your smart home routine would be a breeze. And at the number 1 spot on the list, we have the Denon AVR-X8500H 13.2 channel receiver. This receiver has 15 speaker outputs and is capable of driving up to 13 at once. This would allow for some extremely elaborate setups like a 9.2.4 Atmos setup. However, with 15 outputs, you could have 2 different layouts in your home theater room. Since the Atmos layout and the Oro 3D speaker layouts are slightly different, you could have both arrangements plugged into the receiver at once and drive the speakers at different times. The receiver has 7 HDMI inputs and 3 HDMI outputs, and it does have the ability to use 2 displays if you wanted to on Zone 1. It also is going to have a hardware upgrade available that will allow 8K pass-through, so this will be a receiver you would be able to invest in, and it will last you into the next era as well. As you can see, there's a very wide spectrum to choose from, all the way from the 7.1 channel unit up to the 13.2 if you need that many channels for the experience you're after. As I mentioned before, my other video I linked to talks more about home theater audio and describes how it all works. It talks about the codecs as well as the different wiring configurations or the wiring types. So you might give that video a view and see what that goes to. If you have any questions or anything, make sure you post those below and I'll get back to those. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for any other videos that I'll be releasing in the future as well. Thanks again for watching Here for the Gear.